So it has been a long time since we all have been together. Last session, I think we had last to last weekend. Last weekend, we didn't have any session. Actually, I was traveling from Pune to Nagpur, so that's why we could not have any session that last weekend. So it's okay. Like I can expect that most of you might not be able to recollect. हमने पहले क्या किया था काफी लोगों को याद नहीं होगा. So I'll just quickly summarize what we were discussing. So in short, we were discussing science of soul. The topic is science of soul. In that, we discussed that our body's value is very less. So that means we are something beyond the soul, something beyond the body. We are not this body, we are something beyond this body. Our value is not just some petty 110 rupees or something. Our whole body, if all the chemicals and everything, if we put together and if we try to find out its value, it will be somewhere around 170 or 110 rupees. But we are so much beyond, so much more valuable than just that. So apart from that, we also discussed various other logical and scientific ways to understand that we are not this body, we are something different than this body. So there we discussed about NDE. Anyone remembers what was the full form of NDE? NDE. You can either chat or you can speak out. Anyone remembers what was the full form of NDE? If you don't remember, you can just write no in the chat box. But please write something. NDE का full form. Okay. What about others? Akshay, Tushar. Do you remember what was the full form of NDE? Okay. I think Akshay is still trying to recollect. Okay, okay, no. So NDE का full form था near death experience. Many people they have got near death experience. They felt that they have died only, but still they again came back from dead. They again came back. Similarly, we discussed about OBE also. OBE means out of body experience. We saw one interesting video also where a person जिसका operation हो रहा था, there was a person who was being operated on, and that person could feel that he is seeing from above everything, whatever is going on. So that was one example of OBE, out of body experience. So that was just one example, but there has been thousands of examples throughout the world. And there are so many books written on such cases. We can see in front of us on the screen, so many books have been written on reincarnation and all these things. So reincarnation, it is a fact, and we will discuss how to understand it. But before that, there are some other proofs also of reincarnation. जो पुनर्जन्म रहता है, पुनर्जन्म के और भी काफी सारे proof हैं. Anyone knows what is the meaning of phobia? Phobia का meaning क्या होता है? Anyone remember? Anyone knows what is the meaning of phobia? What is phobia? Phobia क्या होता है? You can just write some. Okay, very good. Certain kind of fear, correct. So phobia means a fear. It is not just some fear. मतलब fear और phobia में फर्क ऐसा है that phobia means such fear जिसका कुछ reason नहीं है. Fear without any reason, that is called as phobia. Okay. So like there is hydrophobia. Some people have hydrophobia. So Hydrophobia means fear of water. Like that, some people have fear from height. If they climb very high and from there, if they see down, they become very much scared. Some people have fear from some particular animal, right? Just by seeing at the photo of that animal, they become scared. So these are called as phobia. So many of the scientists they research that what is the reason behind the phobia. And one very famous scientist, Ian Stevenson, he writes that phobia is related to the mode of death of the person whose life is being remembered. सिंपल टर्म्स में अगर देखा जाए तो अगर कोई इंसान है वो इस जन्म में सपोज वो पानी में डूब के मर गया, ठीक है, कोई इंसान है वो पानी में डूब के मर गया, सो देर इज अ हाई पॉसिबिलिटी कि उसका जो नेक्स्ट लाइफ रहेगा, इन इज नेक्स्ट लाइफ he will have hydrophobia. He will be fearful as soon as he sees water. पानी देखते ही उसको अंदर से ऐसा डर लगेगा एंड उसको खुद को समझ में नहीं आएगा कि उसको डर क्यों लग रहा है, बट उसको डर क्यों लग रहा है बिकॉज पास्ट लाइफ में उसको पानी के साथ एक बहुत ही दर्दनाक एक्सपीरियंस मिला है, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ही हैज दैट फोबिया. सो विल सी डिफरेंट केसेस ऑफ फोबिया. किसी को अगर सपोज किसी चाकू से मारा गया है पास्ट लाइफ में तो उसको चाकू देखने पे सबको डर लगता है, बट कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो कि एकदम डर के मारे एकदम कुछ कर नहीं पाते, दे आर कंप्लीटली ओवरकम बाय फियर. सो देयर इज अ हाई पॉसिबिलिटी दैट सच पीपल माइट हैव बीन किल्ड बाय दैट पर्टिकुलर वेपन. So that was about phobia. That is also one proof which scientists have found out that it is a proof of reincarnation. Then another proof of reincarnation is twins. See, many times we see there are two people, two brothers or two sisters who are exactly alike. They are completely, मतलब आप देख के समझ ही नहीं सकते कि who is who. They both are exactly alike. क्यों alike है? क्योंकि उन दोनों का डीएनए कंपोजिशन सेम है. बट जब सब कुछ सेम है, डीएनए वगैरह सब कुछ सेम है, स्टिल वी फाइंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स कि उनका नेचर कंप्लीटली अपोजिट है. एवरीथिंग इज एग्जैक्टली मैचिंग एक्सेप्ट द नेचर. सो व्हाई द नेचर इज डिफरेंट व्हेन एवरीथिंग एल्स इज सेम? सो वन वेरी ग्रेट पॉसिबिलिटी कैन बी दैट इवन दो दोनों भी सेम एग से जन्मे हैं, दोनों भी सेम डीएनए के हैं, सब कुछ सिमिलर है, बट चेंज कहां पे हुआ है? दैट if body is same, still nature is different. That means nature is not related to body. Nature is something different than body. ठीक है? So that is one more way we can understand that we are different from the body. Now these are some very interesting cases of reincarnation. They are very interesting. You would love to see them. I'll just play this video. You are able to see the video screen? Are you able to see the video screen?
They have the same name and boyish good look.
आवाज आ रही है इसका वीडियो का? जो मैंने अभी आवाज स्टार्ट किया था, आपका आवाज आ रही थी वीडियो की? ओके. एंड वीडियो इज ऑल्सो विजिबल? वॉज द वीडियो ऑल्सो विजिबल? ओके, थैंक यू. ठीक है, I'll just play it.
James M. Houston, raised in the Midwest. James M. Leininger, a young boy from the Bayou.
Whoa! There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
That's not all they share.
Somehow James Houston's spirit has affected my son, either through reincarnation. I don't know how it happened.
I can beat the Japanese easy as pie.
Initially, what caught my attention was James's extreme fascination with airplanes.
And every night he slept with his G.I. Joe action figures, which he named.
I took him to the Kavanaugh Flight Museum.
Here's home video. While the other kids casually look at the plane, 2-year-old James seems to inspect it. Watch as he checks the underbelly, then climbs inside, donning the headset.
The pilot put him on?
I said, oh, look, there's a bomb on the bottom. He said, that's not a bomb, that's a drop tank.
Bouncing about in the cockpit, James was flying high. That night, their world would change forever.
He started having the nightmares, and that was my first indication that there was something wrong. It was a panic-stricken, terrorized screaming.
Over and over again, James had the same terrible nightmare, 4 to 5 times a week. He was too young to explain the dream, but he could draw.
Bombing ships, you see men parachuting. Here's another one where planes are dropping bombs.
Help me.
He would just be crying. He'd say, airplane crash on fire, little man can't get out. He laid on his back and kicked up at the ceiling, and he goes, Mama, the little man's going like this. And he laid on his back and kicked his feet up. The little man's going, ooh, 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 can't get out. And I said, well, who's the little man, baby? And he goes, me. I thought Bruce and I were just gonna faint.
They questioned, what kind of plane?
Corsair.
Why did your airplane crash?
My plane was shot down.
Who shot your plane?
He looked at me like I was a village idiot. He said,
The Japanese. I kept thinking, where is he getting this? I was a stay-at-home mom, so I know that there wasn't anything that he was being exposed to.
Not exposed to in this life, but perhaps, just maybe, somebody else was. Decades earlier, James Houston grew up with the same insatiable fascination with airplanes. He became a naval fighter pilot and fought in World War II. March 3rd, 1945, during a mission near Iwo Jima, he took a direct hit. At age 21, was declared missing and presumed dead.
where did he take off from a boat?
Do you remember the name of your boat? He said Natoma.
Found several thousand hits on the word Natoma.
The USS Natoma Bay launched into battle, headed for Iwo Jima in the fight for Leyte Gulf.
It's the biggest naval battle in the history of the world.
Leo Pyatt served on the ship. From his home in Ohio, he organizes the Natoma Bay reunions. That's how Bruce found him.
I wanted to disprove it.
He asked a few questions about, did I know some of the people? Oh yeah, I remember those people. And so he got very quiet.
It was all real. The people and places James described actually existed. And remember those G.I. Joe dolls that James named? Turns out 3 men with the same names, first and last, served on the Natoma and were killed in action. James said they greeted him in heaven after his crash.
I'd always asked him, do you remember what your name was? And he always said James. But his name is James.
Yes, there was a Jim Houston, a rather large shell, just hit him in the engine, and it burst into flames and went down.
They showed Leo the drawings.
He was right on the nose. I'm sure, in my mind, that he was there.
Leo invited James, now 3, to the reunion. James recognized several pilots, even called them by name.
You're Bob Greenwald. I'm serious.
He never met Bob Greenwald.
No, he'd never met him before.
And someone else was invited. James Houston's sister, Ann.
And he goes, it's not Ann, it's Annie. She wasn't my oldest sister. I had an older sister than that. And I said, you did? Who was that? And he goes, Ruth. I mean Ruth.
Eddie is what they called me when I was little. Knowing my name and my sister's name, things that my brother did when he was a kid. It's too amazing to describe how he would feel that way, but he does. He considers me his sister.
But does she consider James her brother?
I think it's probably a reincarnation of my brother.
Suzanne Stratford, Fox 8 News.
Amazing video, right? See that small boy could recognize so much details, right? All whatever he was saying, that was not vague. Everything was so precise. He could even remember his friends, his sister, his elder sister, her name, precisely everything. And such a small child that they can fake also. So now these were some accounts of different people who have had different experiences which prove reincarnation. Now we'll hear from some famous scientists who believe in reincarnation. Even some famous scientists also believe in reincarnation. One very famous scientist, Benjamin Franklin. Can anyone help me read this? Can anyone kindly unmute themselves and read this? What Benjamin Franklin says about reincarnation. Akshay, can you kindly read this? Hello, Akshay. Can you read this? Okay, no problem. Yash, can you read this?
Finding myself to exist in the world, I believe I shall, in some shape or other, always exist.
Now, this is another famous scientist, John Adams. So, Tushar, can you kindly read this? What John Adams says?
And those souls who revolted against God were placed here to transmigrate through various species of animals, birds, reptiles, etc.
करेक्ट तो देखो ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने यहाँ पे कोई तो बाबा योगी या कोई तो साधु इनकी फोटो लगाई है एंड दे आर सेइंग दिस इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट दीज आर वर्ल्ड famous scientists, okay, scientists, they are speaking like this about reincarnation. Ashish, can you kindly read this, what Socrates says about reincarnation?
Finding myself exists in the world.
Socrates.
Socrates ka?
Yeah, Socrates.
I am confident that this truly is such a thing as living again and the living spring from the dead.
So see what these famous scientists are saying. Now this is a very interesting one case study. वैसे like this there are hundreds of case studies made by Dr. Ian Stevenson. Amongst them, this one is very famous and very interesting. There was this small girl who used to again and again say that she has a village, she lives nearby. She used to tell the name of her husband. Small child, like 2 or 3 years, like 3 or 4 years small child girl. And she is saying that Mr. Amritlal Chakrabarti, he is my husband, and so person is my father-in-law, mother-in-law, father, mother, and all those things she used to say. When she was not more than 5, it's written here. Her age was not more than 5. She used to say all that. So her family members, they all went to that village, which she used to say, and that village was very far. Many of his family members didn't even know the name of that village. But there, when she went, she knew exact details about her house, कहाँ पे कौन सा दरवाजा था. Actually, what happened? She tried to enter the house with some particular darwaza, but at that place where she went, there was no door only. So she was very much surprised कि यहाँ पे door होना चाहिए था, यहाँ पे door नहीं है. She was saying. Later, it was found out कि actual में 10 years before, 10 or 12 years before, वहाँ पे actual में एक door था, but after some girl's death, that door had been removed from that place. But this Shukla, the small girl, she was remembering that there was a door actually there, and she was trying to enter from that door. So she was having so much detailed knowledge that he is her husband and she is her mother-in-law. Everyone she could recognize. Even she could recognize the nicknames of her brother-in-laws. So that way we can understand. There are hundreds of cases. If we get some time, we can discuss some more cases also. But it is a very much accepted fact that reincarnation happens. पुनर्जन्म जो है, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ मूवी में जैसे हम देखते हैं कि सिर्फ हीरो हीरोइन का होता है पुनर्जन्म, ऐसा नहीं है. सबका पुनर्जन्म होता है. Even us also, even you also, even आशीष, तुषार, अक्षय, अविनाश, आप सभी इस जन्म से पहले you all might have been in some other form, in some other body, even myself also. So it is a universal fact which happens with everyone. And after our death in this life, we will again go to some other life, some other body. So reincarnation is a fact. It is not a fantasy. Now next question is कि ठीक है reincarnation होता है, but होता कैसे है? How do we change to other body? Which is the factor that decides which body we will go into? So for that, we will discuss a very simple analogy. Suppose you all want to buy a house. ठीक है? अभी if I ask you that आप में से ऐसा कोई है क्या जो रेंट पे रहता है? Is there anyone amongst you who lives on rent? Okay, anyways. सपोज कोई आदमी है वो रेंट पे रह रहा है, ठीक है, तो जब तक वो पैसे देगा रेंट के तब तक उसको उस घर में रहने दिया जाएगा. ओके, बट सपोज अगर वो घर जो है, अगर वो घर रहने लायक नहीं बचा, अगर सपोज उस घर में कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई, डिफेक्ट्स आ गई, पानी लीक कर रहा है, वॉल्स खराब हो गई, प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई उस घर में, सो दैट पर्सन विल हैव टू चेंज दैट हाउस. Okay, definitely we'll have to change the house. अभी हाउस चेंज करने के बाद वो नेक्स्ट हाउस खरीदने के लिए उसको किन चीजों पे ध्यान देना पड़ेगा? मतलब वो नेक्स्ट हाउस कौन सा खरीदता है वो किन चीजों पे डिपेंड करता है? What are the factors on which his next, like which house he buys next, that will depend on what all factors? Anyone would like to volunteer? I'll repeat my question in proper way that अगर आपको कोई नया घर खरीदना है तो वो नया घर आप किस बेसिस पे खरीदोगे? मतलब कौन से फैक्टर्स अफेक्ट करेंगे आप कौन सा घर खरीदते हो? उस डिसीजन को कौन से फैक्टर्स अफेक्ट करेंगे? Any examples? Correct. Ashish is saying place, nearby facilities. Very true. Others? Anyone else would like to say anything else? कौन से फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करेगा हमारा नया घर? सिंपल क्वेश्चन है, इसके तो ऐसे फटफट आंसर आने चाहिए. ऐसा गलत आंसर आया तो देयर इज नो हार्म आल्सो इफ देयर इज अ रॉन्ग आंसर. Okay, others, I want response from others. Even if I get one more response, we'll go ahead. हम अगर कोई नया घर खरीदते हैं तो वो किन फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करता है? Anyone has some experience or anyone has? Okay, Vineet is saying based on cost, area, directions. Very correct. So location, very good. So आप लोगों ने जो भी आंसर्स दिए उनको अगर मैं समराइज करता हूँ, so the next house that we buy, that depends on two things. ठीक है? One thing is our purchasing capacity. Okay, हमारे पॉकेट में कितना पैसा है या फिर हमारे बैंक अकाउंट में कितना सेविंग है उस पर डिपेंड करता है, राइट? आवर इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस. एंड सेकेंड थिंग दैट मैटर्स इज आवर डिजायर. मेरी इच्छा क्या है? ठीक है, सपोज अगर मेरी बहुत इच्छा है, मुझे एक बहुत बड़ा बंगलो दिख रहा है, मेरी बहुत इच्छा है मुझे उसको खरीदना है, बट अगर मेरे अकाउंट में इतने पैसे ही नहीं है, then even though I have desire, I can't buy that property, right? So both the things are required, our desire and whether we deserve it or not. So desire and deserve, these are the two things that matter. So the same case is there with the body also. After our this body ends, you can imagine that this body is like a flat. ठीक है, ये बॉडी जो हमारी एक फ्लैट की तरह है और हम इस बॉडी के अंदर रह रहे हैं जिस तरह से हम किसी फ्लैट के अंदर रहते हैं. तो जब ये बॉडी किसी काम की नहीं रहेगी, when we become old or someone has some accident or some very big injury happens to this body, then this body is no more habitable. जिस तरह से अगर कोई घर में बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो गया तो उस घर में हम नहीं रह पाएंगे. सिमिलरली हम इस बॉडी में नहीं रह पाएंगे अगर कुछ बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो गया इस बॉडी के साथ. किसी ने चाकू मार दिया, कि किसी का सिर में चोट लग गई बहुत जोर से, so that will make this body ineffective, useless. So similarly, immediately what soul does, we go to another body. और हमको नेक्स्ट बॉडी कौन सी मिलेगी वो दो चीजों पे डिपेंड करता है. हमारा डिजायर क्या है, व्हाट इज अवर डिजायर. ठीक है, हमारा डिजायर्स कैसे हैं. सेकेंड थिंग इज व्हाट वी डिजर्व. हमने इस जन्म में कैसे काम किए हैं, what how much punya, how much pap we have collected. Based on that we get the next body. Similar example, अगर सपोज कंपनी ने आपको मैंने एग्जांपल पहले भी दिया है, अगर कंपनी आपको मर्सिडीज बेंज कार दे रही है और आप उसको लेके जाके खेत में हल जोत रहे हो, ठीक है, मर्सिडीज बेंज को लेके, तो नेक्स्ट टाइम कंपनी क्या करेगी, आपको मर्सिडीज बेंज नहीं देगी, आपको ट्रैक्टर देगी. ठीक है, ट्रैक्टर लो, जितना खेत जोतना है जोतो. सिमिलरली अगर हमको ह्यूमन बॉडी मिली है, हमको कोई भी पर्टिकुलर बॉडी मिली है, बट अगर हमारे डिजायर हम वैसे नहीं है, अगर हम काम वैसे नहीं कर रहे हैं उस बॉडी के लायक, then immediately mother nature what she will do, she will give us appropriate body. We'll see how, we'll see in our further slides how that happens. So what happens to us as death, at death, we'll see this very interesting video. You all are able to see the video part or not? I don't think so. Just a minute. Okay, we'll see this video later. We have a lot to cover. After that, if time permits, then we'll see this video. So it's written here that the soul leaves the gross body and is taken to another womb based on the quality of desires, as we discussed, based on the desires stored in the subtle body at the time of death. हमने पहले भी देखा था कि हमारी जो हम जो सोल है, सोल के ऊपर दो कवरिंग्स रहती है. ठीक है, वन कवरिंग इज subtle body. Anyone remembers subtle body किन तीन चीजों से बनी हुई है? What is subtle body composed of? What three things subtle body is composed of? Anyone remembers? We had discussed this in last session. Subtle body is composed of what? Okay, one of them I will tell. Mind. No. Flesh, blood, and mind. No, it's not. This is also part of. This is also part of the gross body, flesh, and all those things. See, three things are. You remember this. This is very important part. Mind, intelligence, and ego. Mind, intelligence, ego. ठीक है? EMI. You can remember EMI. EMI पता है ना? EMI. You can remember that. E for ego, M for mind, I for intelligence. So you remember this EMI formula. So our subtle body is made up of man, buddhi, ahankar, मतलब mind, intelligence, ego. So our subtle body, it takes the soul to the another body based on the desires that we have at the time of death. So just like we change our clothes, कोई कपड़ा अगर हमारा लाइक पहन के हो गया, बहुत टाइम हो गया, अगर फटा पुराना कपड़ा है, तो उसको हम क्या करते हैं, उसको हम उतार के नया कपड़ा पहनते हैं. Similarly, as soul, we also change our body. We put off our older body and we take on the newer body, just like clothes. This is from Bhagavad Gita. On what basis soul is awarded next body? We already discussed this. This is from Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 6th verse. Yam yam vapi smaran bhava tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So this is from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So actually what happens, this is from Padma Puran, that as soon as we are about to die, someone has written in the chat box that the pain of death is like 10,000 or crores of crabs बिच्छू हमको काट रहे हैं, उतना pain होता है. So that is true, that is accepted by the scriptures, that much is the pain. But along with that pain, there is something else also happens. When we are about to die, हमारे लाइफ में हमने जो भी एक्टिविटीज की है, वॉट एवर एक्टिविटीज वी हैव डन इन अवर लाइफ, ऑल ऑफ देम कम एज अ फ्लैशबैक. जैसे हमने मूवीज में देखा ना, फ्लैशबैक होता है, वैसे ही शरीर छोड़ने से पहले हमारी पूरी लाइफ का फ्लैशबैक होता है हमारे सामने, वेरी फास्ट फ्लैशबैक, बहुत क्विक फ्लैशबैक होता है. और उस फ्लैशबैक में से हमको जो चीज बहुत ज्यादा मतलब अफेक्ट होती है, जो चीज हमको बहुत ज्यादा टच करती है हमारे हार्ट को, सपोज कोई एक आदमी है, उसको उसका घर से बहुत अटैचमेंट है, ठीक है, उसको सपोज उसको उसके बेड से बहुत अटैचमेंट है, उसका बेड उसको बहुत पसंद है. तो जब डेथ के टाइम पे पूरा उसका फ्लैशबैक होगा, सो ही विल रिमेंबर हिज बेड द मोस्ट प्रोमिनेंटली, उसको अपना बेड बहुत प्रोमिनेंटली याद आएगा. सो अकॉर्डिंगली हिज सटल बॉडी विल एडजस्ट, एंड देन इन हिज नेक्स्ट लाइफ he will get a body which is related to a bed. अभी बेड से रिलेटेड बॉडी क्या कौन सी हो सकती है? बेड बग is one possibility, right? So he may get a body of bed bug. Similarly, अगर किसी आदमी है, उसको लड़कियों को देखना बहुत पसंद है, he is very much lusty, that person is very much lusty, he wants to look at women. So what will happen at that time of his death? He will remember some woman form, he will remember some female form. And then in the next life, his subtle body will adjust in such a way that he will get a gross body of a woman. He will become female in his next body. So like that, different people get different kinds of body in their next life, and many of them, they don't get human form also. किसी को कुत्ते बहुत पसंद है, वो कुत्ते से पूरा अटैच है एकदम, then it is great possibility that at the time of death, he may remember a dog and he may get a body of dog in the next life. So that is the case. So when someone is writing that yeah, correct. Okay, we'll go ahead. So we accept one body after quitting another depending on desires in the mind, as we already discussed. And second is good or bad karma. So just like हमने डिस्कस किया इसके बारे में, फ्लैट के बारे में, हमारी जो डिजायर है, हमको अच्छा लोकेशन में चाहिए, अच्छी जगह पे चाहिए, अच्छी क्वालिटी का चाहिए, सो ऑल दैट इज डिजायर. एंड हमारे पास पैसा कितना है, पॉकेट में पैसा कितना है, दैट इज लाइक व्हाट कर्मा वी हैव इन अवर अकाउंट. हमने कितना गुड कर्मा किया, कितना बैड कर्मा किया है, दैट इज अवर बैंक बैलेंस इन दिस लाइफ. ओके, सो नाउ वी हैव 3 minutes remaining. I'll discuss for 2 more minutes. अगर किसी को कुछ डाउट है, anyone has any kind of question, so please write in the chat box in these 2 minutes. Okay, we'll answer that. So when one ignores God's laws and engages in sinful activities, then one glides down to animal bodies. जैसा हमने एग्जांपल दिया था कि अगर हम अच्छी कार को अगर हम अंडर लाइक गलत काम में लगाते हैं, अगर सपोज कंपनी ने हमको एक कार दी है और अगर हम कंपनी का काम नहीं करते, हम उसको अपने हिसाब से यूज करते हैं, तो अगली बार से हमको कंपनी या तो कार देगी नहीं, या तो देगी भी तो बहुत ही थर्ड क्लास वाली कार देगी, राइट? सिमिलरली भगवान ने हमको इतना अच्छा ह्यूमन बॉडी दिया है, जिसको हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया है कि ह्यूमंस और एनिमल्स में फर्क है. ह्यूमंस कैन थिंक अबाउट गॉड, ह्यूमंस कैन थिंक अबाउट द यूनिवर्स, दे कैन इंक्वायर अबाउट हायर थिंग्स. बट अगर हम इस ह्यूमन फॉर्म ऑफ बॉडी को उसके पर्पस के लिए नहीं लगाते हैं, then it's very natural that we will not get human form of body. हमको नेक्स्ट लाइफ में इंसान का जन्म नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि हम इंसान के जन्म को वैल्यू नहीं कर रहे हैं. So just like company will not give us good car, the nature will not give us human body. Human body is the most developed form of body, right? So we need to value this human form of life very much. Otherwise, next life we all will become animals. So if someone is very much fond of eating meat and all those things, flesh, then naturally in the next life he will become a tiger, because अभी नेचर भी बोलेगा कि ठीक है तुमको फ्लैश ही खाना है, तो ऐसा अनकंफर्टेबल होके क्यों खाने का? शेर का शरीर ले लो, बिंदास जितना फ्लैश खाना है खाओ, राइट? सो such persons will get body of a tiger or lion. If someone is very fond of sleeping, right? But अगर हमको सोना पसंद है, but अगर हम एक लिमिट से ज्यादा अगर सो लेते हैं, then we start having various problems in our body, headache, toxins and all those things we start having in our body. So nature will say कि ठीक है अभी तुमको सोना ही है, तो इंसान का जन्म लेके क्यों वेस्ट कर रहे हो? Better you take a body of a polar bear. So mother nature will give us the body of polar bear in our next life, and we can sleep for 6, 6, 7 months. If someone is very fond of being naked, then nature will give us the body of a tree, so that you remain naked throughout your life. So that ways we have a very serious responsibility. हमारा जो human form मिला है, that is a life of very serious responsibility. We cannot just let it go like that. So we have to discriminate, and with intelligence we have to lead responsible lives. So we have very limited time. We will continue our discussion tomorrow also same time. So if someone has any question they can write, or else we'll just end. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow 11 a.m. and continue our discussion. Thank you so much for your very enthusiastic participation. This is very interesting, important discussion going on ahead also. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.